Hi guys, I have started filming my videos early in the morning. Needs must, house full of people. But I just sat down to film, was fully ready, got everything ready, looked, and I hadn't got the camera out. So that's where I'm at this morning. So in today's video, we're going to revisit a haul. I saw this idea on Just Buy the Makeup. I wish I could remember off the top of my head her name. She has loads of Project Pan videos. She does videos with Kitschnitch, is that right? I actually really only discovered them at the beginning of this year, but I'm loving this whole vibe of people that I've collected like within the last few months that are on a no buy, low buy, anti-haul kick, because that's totally how I'm feeling right now. I'm feeling that that probably is a good direction, even if it's a temporary one for my channel to take, because it still fits in to the budget beauty realm. And it also kind of gives us all a little bit of a break from the consumerism constant thing, doesn't it? Because that's kind of how I'm feeling right now, really fighting the need for new things constantly. And so I thought this was a really good idea. And I picked a haul from last year in which I bought a lot of new stuff, and the majority of the stuff I did buy specifically for videos. I was about to do another budget beauty month, which let me know if you'd be interested in doing another one of those, where basically every single product I use within that month is within a certain price range or available from certain stores. And I know that I did this haul with that in mind. And so I thought this would be the most interesting to go back to see how much of the stuff I really used, how much of it I didn't actually use at all, and whether or not it was really worth it looking back. So foundations, I picked up two. One of them I had to get from my everyday makeup drawer because I still absolutely love this. And this is the No. 7 Stay Perfect. Definitely worth the haul, definitely worth the splurge. Probably the most expensive thing that I bought, but as people were saying at the time, because people would forever recommend No. 7 products to me or ask me to review No. 7 products. I said, it's quite expensive, really. I find No. 7 to be kind of mid-range in terms of prices. I don't consider it to be that budget-friendly compared to a lot of other stuff. It's like on the higher end of the spectrum. Anyway, I still haven't tried a lot from No. 7, but I absolutely love this foundation and I would buy it again in a heartbeat. So that's definitely a win. The other one, NYX Bear With Me Tinted Skin Veil. So I was going through a bit of a phase of trying to find things that were a little bit like the, well, I put these two in the same category and they are not the same animal at all, but the IT Cosmetics CC Cream and the Naked, what is it called? One and Done. The One and Done is, they're basically both somewhat a tinted moisturizer. No, they're not all. The tinted moisturizer is more the One and Done. It's very, very, very basic coverage. Small amount. I really like that foundation. I really like that all base product. But I always kind of think of them as a similar product and they're really not. The IT Cosmetics CC Cream gives a medium coverage. Both really nice and easy to work with. But I was kind of in a field at the time or a vibe of trying to find things that were similar from the drugstore, and so many people loved this and I did not enjoy this. I have a video on it, did not enjoy it at all, and I don't know if I've actually picked this up again since that review, so I'm actually going to leave this out to test again, and if I do not enjoy it, you're going to see it in a declutter very soon. I got several primers, which is very unlike me because I'm not a primer person. I got these ones from Primark, the Matte and the Glow Prep and Perfect. And I know I've tried the matte a couple of times. This is very like silicone, regular, you know, primary type texture. And then this is, well, I'll show you what they both look like. This is just kind of like a radiance illuminating primer. I just don't use primers very often. And when I did my declutter the other day and rearranged my makeup, I put both of these in my everyday makeup drawer just to encourage me to use them because I knew I barely had. This is from yesterday. I need to get like an oily makeup remover on my hand because I swatched a bunch of things and I cannot get this one off without a proper makeup remover. Okay, and I just forgot when I did my face yesterday. So they're these two. So this is the silicone one and then this is the illuminating one. Just kind of basic primers. I've got nothing against either of them. but I barely reached for them. So although they were super cheap, I can't say, I literally just bought those to test out, to see if they were any good so that I could recommend them. And then I barely even tested them out. Same with this one, which is the Soap and Glory Kick-Ass Super Blur. I liked the, great. So I've never really reached for this often, and it's broken in the tube, so I'm not entirely sure how that happened. It was like it came out in the tube, maybe it overheated and melted, I don't know. So I liked the idea of this for non-makeup days where you could kind of have this in your bag instead of a pressed compact and just go over like your pores, your T-zone, anywhere that you were oily. A really nice product, a nice idea of a product. I know Benefit have done similar things, and it's not that there's anything wrong with it, it's just I didn't feel drawn to it. If I was going to use I think I've got one right now. Oh, the one I'm using right now is the e.l.f. which has disappeared. Looking in the drawer, it does not exist. I may have put it away in the wrong place. So I'm using the e.l.f. Putty Primer right now, but previously I probably would have pulled out one of the other many silicone primers I've got. Oh, I used the high adherence silicone primer from The Ordinary today, this one. Here it is, I used that. Similar thing. I've got loads and loads of primers that do a very similar thing. Claim to blur and fill in all your pores, and I don't know. The idea of putting it on with a stick first felt heavy. I just never reached for it. So again, I've thrown that in my everyday makeup drawer, and again, we'll see whether or not I actually reach for it. Oh, I've got another foundation product and another win. This was the foundation pressed powder from Primark. Oh, I think I actually bought at the same time. I went through the video and I made a list, but I feel like maybe I missed something because I know I have this in here. I don't know if I bought it at the same time, but I saw this yesterday when I was decluttering and thought I really need to do something with this. The Primark PS My Perfect Colour Foundation and Contour Stick. So this is like a foundation stick, and I'm pretty sure I bought these, if not at the same time, at a very, very similar time. This I've swatched. I don't think I've actually used this as a foundation yet. So maybe we'll do like a day test on that. But this I purchased because my friend Charles raved and raved about it. She's got very fair skin, and she said the fairest one of all worked really, really well for her, and she uses it as a pressed powder to add extra coverage on top of her foundation. And that is an amazing way to use this. I haven't really used it as a foundation alone yet, but if you are looking to have something, if you're going to go out for the day, you're looking to have something in your purse that has extra coverage so that as and when you can touch up and just add a little bit more, because I don't know about you, but because I'm so oily, sometimes I will find that, and I'm also a face toucher, not great right now, but I will find that like areas of coverage has just completely disappeared. This is great for that, absolutely great. And just as a pressed powder, just adds a little bit of extra something. And I am quite into low coverage stuff, so I never feel like it puts me over the edge. Really, really would definitely recommend and would purchase again. I'm trying to get things to one side so I know what I've talked about. Okay, we're organised. The number 7, this was free in fairness, but the Maple Glow palette. I think you can purchase this as a standalone thing, but it was a freebie at the time, and I think all I bought was the Stay Perfect foundation. It was a particularly good deal. And I'm watching the video and I'm like, oh, this is really nice, and I could use this for travel. It's barely been used. Look at it. It has barely been touched. I don't know if I've ever actually used this. I look like I've maybe swatched one of the things. So I'm not getting rid of this immediately. I do think it would be nice for travel. Just not going anywhere right now. And I haven't reached for it yet. So it was free, but I haven't really used it. I've got 2 Primark eyeshadow palettes. One of which I actually was really quite impressed with. This is Taupe Treasure. These were both £3. I used pretty much only these 2 colours in it, but I was so impressed by the black, I never stopped talking about it. Probably for 3 or 4 months. I would be shocked if you hadn't heard me talk about the black in this palette. It is the blackest black I have ever known in my entire life. And coming up from 10 years ago when very, very few makeup brands were doing really inexpensive makeup. Very, like, now budget makeup is a thing. Budget makeup is like, it's as big as anything. Whereas back in the day, we had like ELF, MUA, there was very, very few options, or there were very, very few options when it came to very, very low cost makeup. And black eyeshadows were very difficult to come by. I was under the impression that they were difficult to formulate. I just couldn't understand why black eyeshadows were so terrible in these cheap palettes. This is a £3 palette, and I know it's a tiny pan, but I just will never stop being impressed by that for that reason, because I've still got it in my mind that you cannot get a black eyeshadow for an inexpensive price. Look at this. It's just all over me, and I didn't even touch the black eyeshadow. So, and the other one was Berry Velvets, which again, you can kind of see I've barely touched. I've got 3 of these shadow palettes from Primark, and they are very hit and miss. Not palette to palette, but within the palettes. Some of them are amazing. Some of these eyeshadows are like incredible, really amazing pigment, really amazing on the eyes. And then just some of them are just, ugh, this is terrible. And I'm considering, I mentioned in my declutter, I'm considering going through some stuff like that. Somewhere I know there is some really good and some really rubbish, and just depotting everything and putting it into one larger palette, the ones that are a bit meh, and all my single shadows. So let me know if you would be interested in that. Is that something that maybe you would consider doing for yourself? And then I can show you kind of how I would do it. A couple of highlighters. This one, again, I've barely used, if any, if ever. This is the Primark Brunch Club Ultra Glow. It is way frostier than I imagined it would be. Is it? What's this all about? The creakiest eyeshadow pan you've ever heard in your entire... What is that about? It feels like it's going to fall out. Anyway, yeah, it's very super duper frosty, and it just has never really stood out to me. Do you know what? It's not even as frosty as I remember. It's very white, but it's not quite as... Okay, that's not too crazy. Right, I'm going to put that in my daily makeup. Let's see how this goes. But no, I mean, obviously, I've barely, if ever, used it. NYX Born to Glow. This was an instant hit. I also bought another colour of this, which for the life of me I can't find, and I am irate about this because it's my absolute favourite. So this is Gleam. It's like a bronzy, goldeny colour, and the other one is more of a shimmery, opal shimmery, obviously. It's more of a neutral. Kind of a slightly pink one. Mixed together, they are the most beautiful champagne. And I just don't understand why that doesn't exist in this range, because that would be the most popular. But this is beautiful. Really recommend it. I thought initially, oh my God, I'm getting through this so quickly, and it's quite expensive. I think it's £7 or £8. But it's actually lasting really well. And yeah, it just really easy to blend, really easy to apply, gorgeous in the summertime. I got 2 of these MUA blushed liquid cream blushes. Never used them, not once. Not once did I use these. So again, I've put the coral one in my everyday makeup. And this Primark lip liner and crayon duo, and I think the colour is Plum. It is. Never used this either. This is insane. When I was watching the Just Buy the Makeup video, which by the way, I'll link below, I was totally like on the same page. I'm like, yes, we're both major makeup junkies, and sometimes it gets away from you and you think, I need these things for whatever reason I need them. And especially in this case, the reason that I chose this haul was I knew what my intention was when I purchased these things. I knew that people want to see budget beauty hauls. Budget beauty hauls do really well on YouTube. Budget beauty hauls do really well for me. The names, like the titles and stuff, everything, it works. And so effectively, what I was doing was buying content. Buying content that is the easiest content to make in the world, because it's just, here are the things that I purchased. A haul is the easiest video you can possibly film. There's nothing involved. You're just saying, I bought these things. You don't even have to offer an opinion or a review because they're brand new. It's just, look at the things that I just spent money on. I am buying this video content. And a lot of hauls over the years for me were like that. This is why I started doing my Come Shop With Me series, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, because I was sick of going to Primark and spending £50 to £100 on a whole bag of stuff when I really only wanted like 1 or 2 of those things, because you can't make a haul out of 2 items. And Primark hauls were massively, massively popular. And so it really pushed me to spend money on things that I didn't even necessarily want in the interest of content. Now, in this situation, I was also trying to purchase things to then be able to make future content with. But as we can see, I hardly used any of those things. So there were a couple of things in here that I knew, for example, the foundations. I knew that I was going to make videos specifically about those. Okay, fair enough. There were a couple of things in here that I really did want to try. This, I knew I was going to make a follow-up video on like easy highlighters, like really nice, subtle and flattering highlighters over 30. And that went in that video and I was completely obsessed with it. Very few things in this haul were things that stood out to me as a consumer or me as a beauty junkie. A lot of these things were things that I purchased because I thought people would be interested in them, or I would get future content out of them in some way, shape or form. I'll test these things and XYZ. And I didn't. And this whole thing of Project Pan and being more mindful about my spending is really teaching me that my habits, especially when it came to spending for YouTube videos, have been so much worse than I actually realised. I think it would be fun to look back at some other hauls, so let me know if you would be interested in that. But I also think that once we come out of all of this and, you know, normal service resumes, when I do makeup hauls, I'm probably going to do them for the amount of things that I wanted to purchase. So let's say I go to Boots and I buy 3 things. I'm just going to film a haul of those 3 things and tell you why I wanted to buy those 3 things. It has to, you know, enough is enough. There is a breaking point. And I think many of us right now are feeling the same way, that we want to break those habits of needing new, needing more, needing to spend money. Whether it's out of necessity because who knows what's going to happen when it comes to you know, the economy anyway, but our jobs, our finances, all of that stuff, or you're just kind of going through everything in your house because you've got time and thinking, why have I got so much stuff? I think a lot of us are feeling the same way. Let's kind of minimize that. But at the same time, I think when we come out of this, we're all, those of us that are in this kind of headspace, going to have a bit of a mad moment and think, we can finally go to the shops, let's spend all our money. I'm avoiding where possible, although I did buy myself a little treat for a recent celebration. I am avoiding where possible spending money online. And it's been super tempting because, as I say, in a lot of instances, that's literally buying content. And so instead I've had to sit down and think, right, well, what am I going to do with this YouTube channel if I'm not going to buy things all the time? And if I'm not going to spend money constantly, where are we going to go? And I think this is probably an indicator of the direction that we're going to take. If you are interested in this kind of thing, I would love your feedback because it's definitely something that's interesting to me. We will not be doing away with the hauls and the newness, but we will definitely be reducing to, reducing where possible to just the things that I truly am interested in myself. And it's going to be less about newness and more about truly saving money, truly trying to use what you've got and trying to break the cycle of needing to have the newest lipstick all of the time.